Good afternoon. You can always tell whether something's important by how many people want to participate in the announcement. My vague recollection is when we wanted to ban smoking in public places. I stood there. Well, maybe you were. Actually, I might give you credit for that. But fundamentally, there was nobody, nada. I just counted there are 14 speakers today, so relax. Everyone's limited to 15 minutes. And it doesn't matter whether it's on topic or off topic. There's an old story that everything's already been said, but it's not been said by everyone. I will make sure I say everything, but they're still going to speak. Sorry about that. Anyways, we're here at the Polytechnic Institute of NYU across the street from 370 J Street. 370 J Street, for those who know, is currently occupied, although it's fair to say currently occupied just barely, by a small contingent of MTA and some communications equipment. It is, however, an incredibly valuable and attractive location, but it has been underoccupied and underused for decades, and I'm happy to say that that is now going to change, and it's going to change for the benefit of this city and I think this country and maybe even the world. Over the next 5 years, 370 J Street will be transformed into a cutting-edge center for research and science that will give another huge boost to our city's economy for the next decades. And if you remember when we announced the applied science competition last July, we had always hoped that it might produce more than one winner. Bob Steele and Seth Pinsky kept saying to me, this is not a zero-sum game. There's not going to be a winner and losers. There can be more than one winner, and I think today shows that that is true. I'm glad to say our hopes have been realized. Today we are announcing a major new partnership that, together with the partnership between Cornell and the Technion Institute of Technology, will help usher in a new era of technological innovation in New York City. This partnership is a consortium of world-class institutions and private technology companies led by NYU, New York University, and NYU Poly, and it includes CUNY, Carnegie Mellon, the University of Toronto, University of Warwick, and Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay. And together, they will create the Center for Urban Science Progress, CUSP, or CUSP, right here in the heart of downtown Brooklyn. You thought that when Brooklyn got a Shake Shack, it had everything it would ever need. Actually, this might not make as much news, but it's an awful lot more important. No, it's nothing, taking nothing away from Shake Shack. I like Shake Shack burgers. But I think anytime you can get together an illustrious group like this to do what they're going to do, it really does say a lot about the future of humanity, certainly of New York City. The CUSP right here in downtown Brooklyn, 3 of CUSP's universities come from outside the United States, you should notice, and they will help us make New York City the leading global force in technological innovation. Now, New York has become the hottest destination in the United States for tech companies and entrepreneurs, and many of them are locating in the emergency tech triangle, stretching from downtown Brooklyn to Dumbo to the Brooklyn Navy Yard. And this new partnership is going to give the tech triangle a critical mass that we believe will make it one of the most dynamic environments for entrepreneurs anywhere in the country. We recently surpassed Boston in venture capital funding for tech startups, and we're home to a growing community of digital startups, including Tumblr, Foursquare, Etsy, whose CEO, Chad Dickerson, is with us here today. In fact, in recent years, they've been joined by giants of Silicon Valley, such as Google, Facebook, and Twitter. And these kinds of new businesses are helping fuel our city's economic recovery. But more importantly, they're creating the stage for lots of other ancillary growth in the future. Just like the Cornell Technion campus, CUSP will spin out new startups, create new jobs, and drive innovation for years to come, and we expect that it will generate more than $5.5 billion in economic activity over the next 3 decades. Building it will create more than 2,000 construction jobs. Operating it will produce more than 900 permanent jobs, and these jobs will not just be PhDs. They'll be jobs that I could get. They need mayors now, don't they? Yeah, absolutely. No, seriously, there'll be jobs for building staff and administrative assistants and office workers, and there'll be jobs in stores around the campus. There'll be jobs for companies that service, whether it's taxi cabs or carpenters or delivery services. When you look at something like this, it filters through lots of different parts of our economy at lots of different levels for people with lots of different skill sets. And by conservative estimates, the center is expected to spin out nearly 200 new companies over the next 3 decades, which will create some 4,600 jobs, we think, and attract other existing companies to move here. Now, to make it happen, the city is providing $15 million in value. We're also working with the MTA to speed the transition of 370 J Street from an underutilized office building into a cutting-edge science and research center, which will be ready for the first NYU CUSP class in September of 2017. In the meantime, CUSP won't waste any time. They're beginning a period of due diligence immediately. They'll begin leasing a 60,000 square foot space here at MetroTech beginning this fall. New York City, as you know, doesn't simply embrace the future. I think it's fair to say we create it, and CUSP will be another major lift to our city's technology sector and help spur job growth for generations to come. Just as exciting is what will be studied at CUSP. The new center will bring some of the world's greatest minds together to study the technical, engineering, academic, and human challenges posed by our rapidly urbanizing world. The engineers and scientists who want to lead the way in addressing these challenges will come here to downtown Brooklyn. The ideas and innovations they create and that they bring to markets from around the world will originate, or 2 markets around the world will originate here too in downtown Brooklyn. And the new fast-growing and indispensable industry, along with the many jobs that go with it, will be anchored right here in downtown Brooklyn. Our administration has long seen the promise of downtown Brooklyn, as you know, and since 2004 we've invested some $300 million in capital improvements in the area, including improved transit connections, new housing, and commercial space. And I think it's fair to say our investments have paid off in some exciting ways. Downtown Brooklyn's population has grown from some 400 people in 2000 to more than 12,000 today. I don't know what percentage that is, but it's a big one. And its retail corridor has boomed with more than 150,000 shoppers now visiting the area each business day. And I did want to thank Tucker Reed of the Downtown Brooklyn Partnership, Mary Ann Gilmartin of Forest City Ratner, and Bruce Ratner is here with us today selling Nets tickets for anybody that wants to buy them. And Andrew Kimmel of the Brooklyn Navy Yard Development Corporation for their leadership over these years. They had the vision and they had the courage to stand up, and when through the dark days, they never lost hope, and their continued work really made a big difference. The center will provide new life for a building that has sat largely underused for far too long, further reinvigorating the heart of downtown Brooklyn. NYU plans to make a major investment to transform this aging structure into a state-of-the-art, environmentally sustainable building. It will comprise laboratories, offices, teaching and research space, incubator space for startups, and spin-out space for commercialization. At full capacity, approximately 530 master's and doctoral students will attend CUSP. They'll be taught by 50 full-time faculty and researchers, including 20 who are research scientists from CUSP industry partners like IBM and Xerox and Consolidated Edison, Siemens, and Cisco. In addition, NYU will establish a $20 million innovation fund for students, faculty, and alumni, and CUSP will provide opportunities for the next wave of young, talented middle and high school students through internships and summer jobs at their Invention, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship Learning Center. Now, before introducing today's other speakers, let me add one more important point about our Applied Science Initiative. We want to build more of these exciting schools. We're still in active discussions with Columbia and Carnegie Mellon, who also responded to our RFP, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to find ways for them to realize their proposals, each of which envisions building campuses in other locations around the city. And as I pointed out before, Carnegie Mellon is also a partner in this joint venture. A big day for New York City, a big day for NYU too. So let me start out by inviting NYU's president, John Sexton, to tell us more about this exciting new school. He is, incidentally, an expert on baseball, if anybody has any questions. If I read one more time about how he marries religion with baseball, I don't know. I couldn't figure that out, John, but it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the just completed book on baseball as a road to God, I speak in the chapter on saints and sinners about the difference between Dodger fans and Yankee fans on the one hand and Red Sox fans on the other. And I know you have some ambivalence about this, so perhaps we should have a good lunch on this subject.
How many times has any team come back from a 9-0 deficit?
There are signs in the world. There are signs in the world. And one of the wonderful signs is what we do today. And I want to thank you at the outset, Mr. Mayor, for leading this city now for more than a decade and leading it remarkably. And this idea is only the latest of a set of ideas that you brought that will enhance for generations the life of this city. It requires courage to lead in some of the areas in which you've led, tremendous courage. You've shown it. You've never blinked. And all of us in New York, from all of the boroughs, thank you for that. New York University was created by a man named Albert Gallatin, who had been Jefferson and Madison's Secretary of Treasury. He went as ambassador to England and became friends with Jeremy Bentham, and together they looked at the universities of their day and they said the time had come for a new form of university. And their phrase for it was, we needed universities that were, quote, in and of the city, close quote. And it's that created NYU. That vision created NYU. Mr. Mayor, it was, I think, 6 or 7 years ago that you convened your commissioners for a conversation about this city in 2050. I remember being part of that conversation, and I remember the phrase developing within it that became the mantra for things like today. In the 20th century, fire was sufficient, finance, insurance, real estate. But in the 21st century, we need both fire and ice, the intellectual, the cultural, the educational. And you saw that. And you saw that as long ago as that conference 7 years ago, and you embraced it. And today is more evidence of that. This is a proud day for NYU. We were founded just after the opening of the Erie Canal, which changed New York City, of course, forever in its economic activity, made it a capital of world trade. But the Erie Canal was first and foremost an idea. And today, all of us who care about this city and its role in the future, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, know that we have to build into the DNA of this city the notion of it as an idea capital. Today, the 21st century is here. And it's here in the place that the borough president and I understand is the center of the world, this wonderful place where our accents can be understood. I'm a child of Brooklyn. There once was a time when my father and my grandfather ran the Jefferson Democratic Club. So I'm a serious child of Brooklyn. And we who come from the streets of Brooklyn understand the signs that are out there, not just coming back from 9 to 0, but signs like this, that today 50% of the world's population lives in cities. Within 25 years, that will be 70%. The number of people living in cities will double. We have to figure out how to create the new cities that will be needed and how to make the cities that already exist, the great cities of the world, like New York City, how to make them even more suitable, sustainable, friendly to people, and providing the services that people need. The motto of our proposal was New York City as the thought capital of the world, New York City as the provider of this new service of urban theory to the world. Make London a customer, not a competitor, was what we said in our proposal. And that's what begins to happen today. As the mayor said, this is a consortial activity. NYU and NYU Poly are, in a way, the lead investigators, but an extraordinary amount of quality is brought by our academic partners in this. Carnegie Mellon, University of Warwick, University of Toronto, and IIT Bombay. With the industrial partners, IBM, Siemens, Cisco, Xerox, Con Ed, the National Grid, IDEO, Arup, ACOM. We're especially proud to be making this announcement with them because they incarnate quality, and we're especially proud to be making it here in downtown Brooklyn. The 370 J Street site is important. It is a building which we hope, change into a valuable asset for this community, and we're committed to that. Part of that commitment, of course, starts with leadership, and at this point, I would like to make an announcement that you used a baseball metaphor. When you draft a player, the question is, you draft the position or you draft the best athlete. In this case, we were lucky to get to lead cusp not only a person perfect for the position, but also the best athlete that was out there. To lead cusp, we were able to persuade the immediate past Undersecretary of Energy for 9 years, the provost at Caltech, an extraordinary scholar who has lived the life of cities. And he is here with us today, Dr. Steve Koonin, who will be the new director of CUSP. Steve, by the way, is a product of Brooklyn and of the New York City public school system, so we're welcoming him home. There are a lot of thanks that are in order, and it falls to me to give those thanks. Bob Cattell, the co-chair of the Downtown Brooklyn Partnership, Tom Monfil-Cohn, president of the Dumbo Improvement District, Andrew Kimmel, Bruce Ratner, Mary Ann Gilmartin, who the mayor mentioned, Joshua Muss of Muss Development, Tucker Reed, who the mayor mentioned, Alexandra Sika, the executive director of the Dumbo Improvement District, Joe Kahn, former president of the Downtown Brooklyn, now at the Empire State Development. Finally, I want to thank my colleagues at NYU. It's an extraordinary team. And, of course, the key colleague at NYU who brings us here to Brooklyn and has created this connection is Jerry Holton, the wonderful president of Poly. I would be remiss if I closed without thanking the spectacular speaker of the City Council who's been there for this progress all through the development of this project and has been there for our city. I have to say that I get the privilege of voting for her because she's my councilwoman, but I vote for her on behalf of the city, not just on behalf of our little community. She's generally one of the great leaders of our community. And finally, I want to thank Marty Lipton, my partner now of 25 years, the chairman of NYU's board, and all of my trustees who are here today. They have never wavered in their commitment either to this project or to the advance of NYU. I bless you all. It's my privilege to work with you. And I would just, as I close, ask the NYU trustees in the room please to stand. Marty is here. I want to thank you for being there for this project and for all that we do.
John, thank you. You mentioned the president of NYU Poly, who, with NYU, is leading this new partnership, Jerry Holton. Jerry, you want to say a few words?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was 2005 when I took this job that you came to my swearing in at BAM, and this is a great celebration of what we knew could happen but had a lot of work to do. So first, to everyone here, welcome to downtown Brooklyn. Welcome to what I call Innovation Square, and it's going to become even more exciting with the arrival of Steve Koonin and CUSP and all that we're doing. I want to thank a few partners that teamed up with us to make this happen. John acknowledged some, but I'd like to thank Paul Horn, head of research at NYU. I'd like to thank David McLaughlin, the provost at NYU, for his great work. Mike Alfano and Marty Dorff and others, we know who we are, who did a lot of the work on this. It's been a great and exciting run. And all of you around here, I've been shaking hands all afternoon, in some ways helped. I got more phone calls saying, I think we can get 370 J Street if we just do this, if we push this way and that. So you think about it, you made it happen. Mr. Mayor, there's a great team in Brooklyn that cared a lot about doing this, and they did it. So briefly, why urban? Well, I have two big reasons. One is over the next 30 years, nearly 1 billion people will move into cities around the world. So not only do we have our American cities in which we need to understand how to be more energy efficient, more able to have a high quality of living, but these cities around the world are essential. If they're well done, we have a world that works. If they're poorly done, we have a world that sucks up resources and basically depletes this earth and doesn't work. So the secret to that is technology and science. New ways to use energy, new ways of transportation, new ways to run buildings. You can think of all the ideas that we're going to invent. And Steve is going to be fabulous at pulling together the information that undergirds all of this and turn it into products and services that truly change the quality of life on this earth. You can't get past 2040 without a radical change in how we use our resources. And cities are one of the largest consumers of these resources. So it's a perfect match. Secondly, this is job security for every student that wants to be an engineer, because over the next 30 years, the market's estimated to be between $160 trillion and $360 trillion of infrastructure will be invested in these 30 years. That's work for consultants, engineers, scientists, financiers, educators, everyone who makes this great enterprise work. And we'll do it right here from Brooklyn and basically spread out around the world. So think of it. The last 150 years for Poly have been great years. We had a role in building the Brooklyn Bridge. We had a role in the Panama Canal. But this is the 21st century challenge, and we're there. We're pleased to have you all as partners. And I'll take care of it. All right. 10,000 okay. All right.
50,000 people. We all introduce
No, I'll do my last introductions then. I want to thank two of my teammates on the mayor's staff, Seth Pinsky, who heads EDC, and Bob Steele, the deputy mayor, both who were fantastic partners in helping us conceive this and make it happen. Thank you very much, and thank you, everybody, for making this work.
Jerry, thank you. The MTA really has been a great partner in helping us reach this day. So let me invite the president of NYC Transit, Tom Pendergast, to share a few words. Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Mayor Bloomberg. It's great to be here today to share this exciting news, the transfer of 370 J Street to New York University and the Center for Urban Science and Progress. First, let me say, on behalf of Joe Loda and the chairman at the MTA and everyone else there, reaching this historic agreement with the city and New York University has been a pleasure. And I want to thank you, Mayor Bloomberg and President Sexton, for a negotiation process that couldn't have been more open or more productive. I think the best part of the deal is that it's great for everyone. It's great for the MTA, it's great for New York University, and it's great for our entire city, especially downtown Brooklyn. You know, I spent 12 years when I first came to New York in 1982 at the 370 J Street building, and I worked there throughout the 80s and 90s. And I have to be honest, seeing it leave the MTA family is kind of bittersweet for me. On one hand, there's a real soft spot in my heart for that building. You'd have to recall 30 years ago, it was in much better shape, but also in relation to everything around it, it stood out differently than what it does today. And believe it or not, it was once very functional modern office building and the centerpiece of operations for New York City Transit. It's also an indelible part of the history of the New York City subway system. It was originally built in 1950 for the New York City Board of Transportation, the predecessor agency in New York City Transit. And when the New York City Transit was born in 1953, it became our long-term headquarters. Back then, before MetroCard was around, only the U.S. Treasury handled more cash than New York City Transit did on a daily basis. And there was also a train platform right at the basement of 370 J Street, and money trains rolled up to it and made deposits on a nightly basis for all the people who were buying tokens at that time. Although, President Sexton, I'm sorry to say, that platform and the money are long gone, so you won't have a chance to reap any of the benefits from that. On the other hand, I'm thrilled that 370 J Street will now be put to such good use. Thrilled that we're part of this effort to bring new business in the Science Incubator to downtown Brooklyn. And thrilled to know that it will once again be a bustling, vibrant hub of activity and life of this neighborhood as it once was. This 460,000 square foot property right in the heart of downtown Brooklyn will be a tremendous asset to New York University. And in its new role as a technology incubator, it will no doubt spur the continued revitalization of this neighborhood. In the end, the transfer of this property is just another way the MTA is looking at each and every aspect of our operations to deliver better service to our customers. We've undertaken a top-to-bottom review of our real estate holdings, and in addition to the transfer of 370 J Street, we've already announced plans to sell our Madison Avenue headquarters as well. The point is we're trying to maximize the benefit of the office space we need, unloading properties we don't need, and to support investment in our transit network, which is most vital. And I think that alone gives you a good idea of how we're trying to do business better at the MTA. Today, everything we do is designed to achieve one goal, delivering good service to over 8.5 million customers a day, each and every day. And on that note, it's a pleasure to turn the floor back over to Mayor Bloomberg. Thank you.
Tom, thank you. Tom, thank you. We could not have done this without your cooperation and all your work, so I appreciate it. Our game-changing applied science initiative also would not have been possible without the support of an outstanding selection committee, which includes leaders like Kathy Wild, who I see standing here today. It also wouldn't have happened without the vision and determination of two leaders who conceived of this initiative and made sure that it became reality, Deputy Mayor Bob Steele and EDC President Seth Pinsky, and I'd like to ask both of them to say a few words. First, Deputy Mayor Steele. Bob?
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's my pleasure to be here and to be joined by such a remarkable group of people behind me, the leaders who have made all this important things possible. First, let me say thanks to Speaker Quinn and Borough President Markowitz, both of whom were steadfast in their support for this initiative all along the way, and it's great that they're here to enjoy this moment, too. Also, too, let me say on a personal basis that to have the privilege of working with all of the NYU community, in particular President Sexton, has been extraordinary, and this certainly would not have happened without his leadership and with all of the great team behind him, both his administration and also the trustees. So let me say congratulations and thank you, too. Nextly, also to MTA Chairman Joe Lota, represented so ably today by Tom Prendergast and their team for the partnership. This would not have gotten done without their steadfast commitment to making sure we find a way. These things are complicated and hard, and it takes people that are committed to really getting over the goal line to allow them to happen. Also, too, on the city team, Eugene Lee and Carolee Fink have been great members of the team, in addition to Seth Pinsky and his colleagues Josh Wallach and Patrick O'Sullivan. You know, Mayor Bloomberg already outlined all the wonderful things about this project, the impact it will have on downtown Brooklyn and all of New York City. And also, too, when you heard the roster of people that are joining this parade from all over the world, that it made clear that connections around the world will be strengthened with NYU and NYC as catalyst for further growth. The only other comment I'd like to add as I try to place what we're talking about into the longer-term perspective is just to remind you that lots of people all over the world are talking about these ideas. They're talking about the fact that economies have transitioned. For 3,000 years, they had an agrarian driver. For 200 years, they had more of an industrial attitude, and today it's about information and knowledge, and those are the skills we need. And so basically to be here and talk about this, Mayor Bloomberg has made this a citywide imperative. All over the world, people are talking about these types of ideas, but Mayor Bloomberg is providing the real leadership to make them happen. And if you look at this and roll down the ideas, today we're celebrating this initiative, but there are others. We have the Cornell and the Technion campus on Roosevelt Island. We have the Academy for Software Engineering with Fred Wilson here, who was so involved in that. We have P-Tech in sponsorship with IBM, and Stan Litow is here. And we have 9 incubators all over New York City, basically, which will produce homes for over 1,000 companies, and potentially even more applied sciences winners. So, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. And basically, we're so appreciative to be able to work with you, and we think this is a wonderful thing for New York City, and congratulations. Thank you.
Bob, thank you. Seth, you want to say a few words there?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Bloomberg. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Steele, and thank you to all of our great partners here. I want to just add one additional person, and another member of our advisory committee who's here today is Greg Gunn, who really played a vital role in helping us to move the Applied Sciences project forward. Today's announcement is the next step on New York City's path towards realizing Mayor Bloomberg's vision of turning New York City into the global capital of innovation for the 21st century. CUSP doesn't just unite a wide array of expertise and knowledge from leading academic institutions from all corners of the globe, but it also brings together innovative partners from the private sector, as well as the resources and experience of the public sector. This potent mix will result in the creation of an institution that is uniquely suited towards the addressing the challenges of the 21st century, and will do so in a manner that creates new businesses and generates new jobs. And all of this is going to be taking place here in downtown Brooklyn, not just bringing economic activity, but also helping to cement downtown Brooklyn's position as one of the city's most important and vibrant centers of innovation. And it will also help to connect downtown Brooklyn to the emerging neighborhoods and emerging technology hubs in Dumbo, in Williamsburg, at the Brooklyn Navy Yards, and elsewhere. Before concluding, let me just add that I'm particularly excited that this partnership is being led by NYU, an institution that has been an incredible partner to the city and to EDC on the mayor's entire innovation agenda, from the Urban Technology Innovation Center to the New York City Media Lab to two of our technology incubators in Manhattan and one down the street at Dumbo. Clearly, NYU is already playing an important role in ensuring that we achieve the mayor's ambitious goals, and with today's announcement, it's poised to play an even larger role in the years and decades to come. Suffice it to say that the mayor's Applied Sciences initiative continues to surpass all of our expectations, with more, we hope, on the way. So thank you very much to all of our partners here today, and we look forward to many more announcements here in downtown Brooklyn and elsewhere throughout the city.
Seth, thank you. In addition to NYU and NYU Poly, there are 5 universities joining this effort, and I would like to invite Vice Chancellor Nigel Thrift of the University of Warwick to share a few words on their behalf. Nigel?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As Vice Chancellor of Warwick University, I am so proud to be a part of this initiative, and I know the other members of the consortium universities are too. As a premier world city, it's no surprise that New York is leading the way in thinking about, in designing, and in making the world cities of the future. It's even less of a surprise that Mayor Bloomberg is at the helm. It is, as they say, unnatural, and we can't wait to get started with NYU and the other consortium members in bringing this project to fruition by applying the sciences to cities on a systematic and long-lasting basis. After all, if we're going to sort out the problems of the world, we've got to sort out cities. And New York City, and of course especially Brooklyn, is once again leading the way. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Nigel, thank you. There are also 9 industry partners who are working together to create CUSP. And I would like to invite Stan Litow, IBM's Vice President for Corporate Citizenship and President of the IBM Foundation, to share a few words on their behalf. Stan?
Mayor. Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you to the entire team that put this together, Bob Steele, Seth Pinsky on the city side, all of our collaborators from higher education and business. We're very pleased, IBM is very pleased to be part of this. In the comments that the Mayor made earlier about the importance of generating energy and creativity from startup business. We're not exactly a startup. We've been in business for 100 years, but the process of reinvention can also involve large companies, too. We make a major investment in research. As a matter of fact, former head of IBM Research, Paul Horn, is at NYU right now and played a very big role in putting this together. We make a $6 billion contribution each year to research. Smarter cities is a large part of what we do, and we look forward to partnering with NYU, with the university partners, CUNY, who we work very closely with on the new grade 9 to 14 school that we opened here in Brooklyn called P-Tech. We look forward to a lot of innovation working with the university partners, the other businesses, and making available some of the resources that the IBM company has. So our CEO, Ginia Rometty, couldn't be here today, but she sends our best, Mayor, and we look forward to this close collaboration with the City of New York. Thank you.
Stan, thank you. Our CUSP project received vocal and enthusiastic support from a number of our city's elected leaders, and I just would like to ask a few of them to share a few words, starting with the Speaker of the City Council, Christine Quinn, who has been a partner of our Applied Sciences Initiative from the very beginning. Chris?
Thank you very much. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and congratulations to you and Deputy Mayor Steele and to Seth Pinsky and everyone on the city's team who's been able to pull this together. I want to congratulate President Holton very much for this and give you a lot of thanks. You've been working with us on a lot of issues in the council, so thank you. And President Sexton, thank you very much for having the desire to become even more a part of Brooklyn and returning home to your roots. So thank you very, very much. And just want to recognize my colleague on the council who's with us today, Steve Levin. And this announcement of CUSP today really helps us move an enormous step closer to realizing the vision of a Brooklyn Tech Triangle that we have been articulating with the mayor and others for a period of time now. This announcement is going to give us another world-class educational institution. And think about it. Most folks don't know this. In this part of Brooklyn, on any given day, there are more students than there are in any given day in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So I just want to say, Boston, you're going to go down again. And towards that end, I think I have the most important question to ask. CUSP is going to bring us a lot. It may not ever be the kind of university that's going to be an athletic powerhouse. But it does need a mascot, President Sexton, and I think we are going to have to launch a contest right now to come up with the appropriate, given all the diversity of the partners, a CUSP mascot, and we're happy to lead that drive in the City Council. Thank you very much.
Borough President Marty Markowitz has been saying that the world comes to Brooklyn for years, and I would like to invite him to share a few words on this exciting partnership. Marty?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. Isn't love beautiful? Thank you very, very much. It just gets better and better. We're on a roll, I'm telling you. I'm thrilled that NYU Center for Urban Science and Progress is certainly part of Brooklyn's big stage now. And what a better place than 370 J Street in downtown Brooklyn, because Brooklyn is indeed College Town, USA, and they're going to love it here, faculty and students. Now, of course, I have to tell President John Sexton, why stop there? How about including a future standalone campus in Brooklyn? I have to tell you, I mean, Greenwich Village, nice place. But in my crystal ball, the Tisch School of the Arts belongs right here in Brooklyn. We are the creative epicenter of the world. You know that. By the way, John, I want to thank you. You appointed Steve, and you're going to be heading up this whole effort. And it's a pleasure to have someone, your leadership, that I can look at eye to eye. A pleasure. Deputy Mayor Robert Steele, thank you so very, very much. Brooklynite Seth Pinsky, thank you very, very much. Jerry Hulton, thank you for your outstanding leadership. Joe Loda, Brooklynite, I might add. Tucker Reed, of course, Brooklyn. And Joe Chan, I have to thank Joe. He was tremendously helpful with all of us. Truth be told, we men know that when you really need to get something done, you have to give it to a woman. And that's true. And the best example of that is Mary Ann Gell-Martin, the Executive Vice President of Forest City Radnor, and Lynn Brown, NYU Senior Vice President for University Relations. Now, you talk about a dynamic duo. Men, just get out of their way. That's all. I'd also like to thank my colleagues Joan and Daniel and Vilmanette and certainly Christine and Steve and other elected officials that really made this happen. Finally, I want to thank all of the academic partners who are making this dream possible. 370 J Street will no longer be an eyesore in downtown Brooklyn. Instead, it will become an intellectual hub that will reshape downtown and not only act as a catalyst for businesses in the area, but attract to Brooklyn and, of course, New York City and America, the world's most innovative, creative, and talented. And it will solidify downtown Brooklyn as an active competitor for the most exciting businesses and jobs of tomorrow. Years ago, we all recognized the potential of 370J, but we were just waiting for the right partnership to come along to transform the building. And as they say, good things come to those who wait. By the way, we waited long enough. We waited for the best. Thank you, John Sexton. The new campus is just the icing on the cake. And you can tell between the mayor and I who likes cake more, that's for sure. For downtown Brooklyn's transformation into a cutting-edge 24/7 live, work, play, and learning space. And with the opening of Atlantic Yards, the new home of the Brooklyn Nets, Manhattan Knicks, you had your day, right around the corner, things will be livelier than ever in Brooklyn. And soon, a few blocks from here, as we all know, Willoughby Square Park will break ground. To make things even sweeter, the J Street MetroTech subway station is one of the biggest transit hubs in the city. Every day, nearly 30,000 riders pass through. That's more than 90% of the city's 422 subway stations. Between the Navy Yard and Dumbo, which everyone knows is the next Silicon Valley, this new school will be the third wave of Brooklyn's tech boom. With CUSP, I'm getting closer to be able to say, truthfully, John Sexton, that NYU begins in Brooklyn. Congratulations.
Marty, thank you. We have two state senators with us today. Senator Montgomery, welcome, and also Dan Squadron. And Dan, would you say a few words? You've been a strong supporter of this effort.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and to your team, Deputy Mayor Steele, who I think should be nicknamed the closer at this point, with a number of deals that seemed impossible that are happening under his watch and your watch. Seth Pinsky, my colleagues in government, Speaker Quinn, Borough President Borough President Markowitz, my Assembly colleague Joan Millman, and City Council colleague Steve Levin. Of course, to NYU and everyone up here. I mean, with the number of people up here and the amount of time this took, we could have built a new building. But of course, this is not just about a single building. This is a game changer for downtown Brooklyn and for New York. It's a game changer for downtown Brooklyn because 370J is a keystone property here, and as downtown Brooklyn is revived, we need it to be activated. It's a game changer for New York for all of the reasons that all of the people who have spoken before me have talked about, our ability to get involved in the next wave of tech and engineering and the information economy. It's an extraordinary day and a very big day, and rarely has one building been so hard to make work or been so important when it does. I thank everyone who made it happen. Thank you very much.
Dan, thank you. And somebody else who's been very supportive, Assembly Member Joan Millman. Joan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have to tell you, if you haven't been thanked, I'm going to thank you. If your name doesn't come up, I'm sure you played some kind of role in making this happen today. Close to 10 years ago, the borough president and I talked about the eyesore that was 370 J Street. And I can't speak for him. I can speak for myself. I had no visual about what could happen there. It took the people that are standing behind me to come up with this wonderful plan. I even like the acronym, CUSP. I really don't know what they're going to be doing in there, but obviously from all the people around me, they know it's going to be a great thing. We're going to have a Brooklyn Triangle that's going to deal with, I think, a slogan that I could see from where I was standing. And it says kind of above my head to the right, I will turn an idea into a corporation. And maybe that's what they're going to be doing here. At least they're going to be striving to do that with all these wonderful young students who will come here and learn and help grow our city and particularly help grow our borough. I thank everybody behind me, and I look to the day, Mr. Mayor, when we can actually cut something to show that it's happening. Thank you so much.
All of us. Thank you very much. City Council Member Steve Levin worked on this. Steve, where are you? There you are.
Thank you, Mayor. And I really just want to join my voice to the chorus of recognition of all the hard work that went into making today happen. First, I want to thank Mayor Bloomberg and Deputy Mayor Steele, President Seth Pinsky, President Sexton and Holton, our Speaker Christine Quinn of the City Council, Borough President Markowitz, Assemblymember Millman, Senator Squadron, Senator Montgomery, President Pendergast, Alan Fishman, and Tucker Reed of the Downtown Brooklyn Partnership, and Forest City Ratner. In particular, I just want to really give kudos to the Bloomberg administration, because I think in a lot of ways this is going to be one of their great legacies, is what they've been doing around information, research, and in particular what they've been able to do in downtown Brooklyn, which has really transformed it. And I think a lot of that credit goes to you, Mayor, for your vision and for your dedication with Seth Pinsky and Bob Steele really taking the lead It's been a remarkable journey. So I want to thank you, and thank you all very much.
Steve, thank you. You may not know this guy, but this guy really has made an enormous difference in the city. Fred Wilson is the managing partner of a venture capital firm called Union Square Ventures. He has been an important partner in our effort to give parents more choice by helping us build the Academy for Software Engineering, a new high school in Union Square. He has played a major role in making Cusp School a reality, and I think you'll find him fascinating. Fred, want to say a few words?
Thank you, Mayor Bloomberg. My business is startups. That's what I've done for 25 years of my career. And the interesting thing, as I've watched New York transform itself into the second most active startup hub in our country, as the mayor said earlier, is the emergence of Brooklyn and what's happening here in Brooklyn. Chad Dickerson, who's the CEO of Etsy, is here representing just one of many startups that are housed in Brooklyn. And I think that what Cusp is going to do is provide a really important catalyst to energize Brooklyn as the merging hotbed of startups in New York City. It's where all the young people who work in these startups live anyway, and I think Cusp and the whole study of urban sciences is going to be great for the city, and I'm really proud to be involved. Thank you very much.
Fred, thank you. Alan Fishman is somebody that everybody in Brooklyn knows. He's been a tireless worker, at least for the last dozen years that I know. Probably just the last dozen, that's all? I don't know, but before that, he is co-chairman of the Downtown Brooklyn Partnership, and I think it's fair to say Brooklyn wouldn't be Brooklyn without him. Alan?
Since in the last 12 years, since the mayor's focused on 5 boroughs, we've tried to do an awful lot of things in the Navy Yard, at the BAM Cultural District, at Atlantic Yards, Admiral's Row, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You couldn't do it. This deal was as tough and difficult and complex as any one we've done. And it's important, and it's critical, and you can't do a thing like this without all of the people behind us and also a first-class execution team that the mayor has put together. I thank everybody. It's a great day for our community. It's a great day for Brooklyn, and thank you all for being here. And I want to thank the Dumbo bid, the Downtown Partnership leaders, and all of them for their work on this thing. Thank you very much.
Let me just point out that Jay just informed me the MTA Finance Committee just this instant unanimously approved letting the board go ahead with this transaction, dispose of 370 J Street. Before we take questions on topic, and then we're going to have a few moments pause, and we'll take off-topic questions after that. But let me summarize today's announcement for our Spanish-speaking New Yorkers. Hoy anunciamos un nuevo centro de estudios de ciencias aplicadas en el centro de Brooklyn. El nuevo centro universitario fomentará billones de dólares en actividades económicas durante los próximos 30 años. Creará 2,000 empleados de construcción, 900 empleos permanentes y lanzará cientos de empresas. And with that, we'd be happy